Welcome back to NBA Teammate Beefs. This is CT signing in. In Volume 1, we analyzed the passive-aggressive discord on the Washington Wizards between John Wall and Marcin Gortat. In Volume 2, it's time for a retrospective on a super team in the Midwest that failed to live up to expectations, as their incompatible agendas and egos caused them to repel from each other like oil and water. The centerpiece of this feud loves controlling the narrative, so I found it fitting to treat this installment like an actual film. So grab some popcorn and Coke, sit back, relax, and enjoy the tale of LeBron Raymone James versus Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love.
Ain't shit to me, it's a walk in the park. Y'all too smart, can't talk from the heart. I got sauce and it's all for the charts. It's all for the charts.
Coming off his first two championships, LeBron James and the Miami Heat would find themselves pitted against the San Antonio Spurs in the 2014 NBA Finals for a sequel to last year's 7-game saga. Only this time, the Spurs were playing with unheard of urgency to absolve themselves from their epic choke the year before. The Miami Heat, like the Spurs, were chock full of veterans, just not the good kind. Most notably, LeBron's main co-star, Dwayne Wade, was dealing with debilitating knee pain that left him contemplating retirement. As a result, San Antonio extinguished the Heat in 5 games by a record margin of victory to complete their redemption arc. Recognizing that the Heatles had gone from blockbuster flick to box office bomb, LeBron James would return home, to the city that burned his jerseys as if he murdered somebody, to play for the same owner, Dan Gilbert, who wrote one of the pettiest breakup letters of all time after LeBron's 2010 departure. In Comic Sans, I might add. He had a new partner on the wing in Kyrie Irving with much fresher legs and 2 NBA All-Star selections, including All-Star Game MVP, under his belt by his 3rd season. Immediately, plans were made to flip Cleveland's number 1 picks, Andrew Wiggins and Anthony Bennett, for Kevin Love. It's so easy to forget now, but Love was considered by many at the time a top 10 player and arguably the best big man in basketball. It's not hard to see why so many felt this way, judging from his stats. He was a rebound machine who could score from the post, but also knock down threes during a time when most big men's shooting prowess was limited to the mid-range. Therefore, many fans and pundits pegged Cleveland to win it all during their first season together. However, things became rocky from the get-go when Kevin Love showed up to training camp out of shape, which drove LeBron up the wall with frustration. Which was understandable considering how high the stakes were. To make matters worse, the Cavaliers would begin the season 19-20. The entire team was out of rhythm, but no one struggled to find their footing more than Kevin Love. Gone were the days of Love operating out of the post due to Tristan Thompson and Anderson Varejao already occupying the key, and a slasher like LeBron needing room to operate when he drove to the basket. Therefore, Love was shoved to the perimeter like a background extra, where he became a glorified spot-up shooter, and suffered the largest drop in his production out of the big 3. A very similar trajectory had befallen on Chris Bosh when he played with LeBron and Wade in Miami. The difference was Bosh still gave the Heat excellent defense, which he doesn't receive enough credit for till this day.
To this day! To this day!
Whereas besides floor spacing, Love was not able to bring much to the Cleveland offense without his scoring and rebounding. This sacrifice was tough, and carrying the burden made it difficult to ingratiate himself with the rest of the team. This would lead to LeBron subtweeting Love in February, saying, "Stop trying to find a way to fit out, and just fit in. Be a part of something special." And just my thoughts. This was in reference to comments made by Love earlier in the season about embracing his ego and not trying so hard to fit in with the group. Predictably, this passive-aggressive tweet didn't go over very well with Love. And while the tension continued to mount between these two, things were not much better when it came to LeBron and Kyrie. In early April, after Kyrie put up 34 points with 0 assists in a loss to the Jazz, LeBron urged him to pass the ball and to not let that happen again. LeBron came up to me and was like, "1, you can never have another game with no assist," Irving said. "You can damn near have just 1, 2, 3, but you can't have 0. And I was like, alright, cool. It won't happen again. And it hasn't happened since that game. In other words, what LeBron was trying to say was, play your part and give me the damn rock. This is my show, Kyrie. I'm the main character. Therefore, the show must go on. In spite of the drama, the Cavaliers managed to clinch the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference with the help of acquisitions like J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert. This team was beginning to peak at the right time. Unfortunately, during their first round matchup with the Celtics, Kelly Olynyk, who thought he was participating in WWE SmackDown, proceeded to dislocate Kevin Love's shoulder in a vicious takedown attempt that Vince McMahon would be honored by. Nonetheless, Cleveland kept rolling. Later in the postseason, Kyrie was asked about the parental role that LeBron had been playing for him, which clearly made Irving uncomfortable.
Father, so what type of parental role has he played for you and your teammates, LeBron?
Oh, okay. So you, parental role. Honestly, I'm, he's. I don't know how to really answer that question. He's been a great leader for us. I have one father. That's my dad, Kyrie Irving. But for us, in terms of learning the nuances of the game and also how to win on the court and also how to carry ourselves off the court, I feel like he's been a great influence in that role.
The Cavaliers still advance to the NBA Finals, where they meet the team that would throw a monkey wrench in their plans to dominate the NBA for the next several seasons: the Golden State Warriors. In Game 1, the injury bug targeted Kyrie Irving as he fractured his left kneecap in overtime and was forced to exit stage to the right. Throughout the playoffs prior to this event, LeBron had reportedly been calling Kyrie soft for the time he had already missed with this ailment, underestimating how serious it was until Kyrie aggravated it. The Cavs would bow out of the finals after 6 games, but many basketball cognoscenti were confident that they would have won had they been healthy. Heading into the 2015-16 season, Kevin Love committed to a long-term contract to stay in Cleveland, but requested a bigger role on offense from LeBron, which he obliged to. However, his name was repeatedly thrown into trade rumors after the Cavaliers seemingly played just as well when he wasn't in the lineup. Despite their agreement on an increased role, the cold shoulder from LeBron continued. Whether it was coincidentally forgetting to offer Love a hand after he fell, despite walking right over him, or somehow always leaving him out of team photos, which hilariously led to Kevin Love photoshopping himself into one of them, their chemistry, like my sanity, was non-existent. The turning point for these two would come in the form of mid-season acquisition Channing Frye. His happy-go-lucky demeanor loosened the Cavaliers up and helped to break the ice between Love and LeBron, along with the rest of the team. His miscellaneous group chats and corny sense of humor lightened the load in a serious locker room focused on winning a title. For example, Love began inviting the entire team to his home after every series win, and bonded with teammates over their shared interests like Game of Thrones. And while Love and LeBron did not become besties overnight, they slowly grew to respect each other. I believe the shift in their dynamic was due to Kevin Love ultimately coming to terms with the fact that he would never be seen as a superstar again if he chose to play in the LeBron James system. For Love, this sacrifice was worth it because it meant every season would involve deep playoff runs and competing for championships. Now back to Irving. After 1,001 things went wrong for the Golden State Warriors in the 2016 finals, the Cavaliers were able to capture a championship. LeBron and Kyrie went ballistic in this series as the perfect 1-2 punch to overwhelm the Warriors. Yet the point guard from Duke couldn't have been any more unhappy with his surroundings. In fact, Irving pondered requesting a trade that very same offseason, but decided to wait one more year. With it becoming clear that the Cavs stood no chance against the Warriors after they added Kevin Durant, Irving was ready to go. And the floodgates began to open. When it became clear that Kyrie would never suit up for the Cavs again, threatening to undergo surgery and miss the season if Cleveland did not trade him, Dan Gilbert gave the green light to send Irving to the Celtics. Irving would then make an appearance on ESPN's First Take to explain his decision. In this equally strange, equally hilarious interview, Kyrie danced around almost every question he was asked. Despite his best attempts to downplay his irritation from playing in the LeBron James system, a surplus of information would leak in the following weeks and months. For one, he never wanted LeBron joining the team to begin with. Back when LeBron was on the Heat, he took Kyrie aside after they played each other and told him something to the effect of, "Keep going, keep doing what you're doing. You never know." I could be back here one day. And Kyrie basically said, what is he talking about? We don't need him. A month before making his trade request, he was blindsided by the Cavs allegedly trying to swap him for Eric Bledsoe and Paul George. He was convinced that Cleveland no longer wanted him, but also that LeBron was behind this backroom bartering. While certain sources insist it was Cleveland's then GM David Griffin who masterminded this deal, LeBron and Bledsoe are both managed by Clutch Sports. Clutch Sports is the same sports agency firm that managed to snag LeBron's current teammate, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a 3-year, $40 million contract with the Lakers this past offseason. No disrespect to KCP, but that dollar amount was clearly an overpay. But when you've got the best player on the team in your corner lobbying for you with an immense amount of leverage, anything is possible. More importantly, Irving was done playing second fiddle and tired of being LeBron's son. Contrary to popular belief, he didn't believe he was better than James, but he was tired of the 6'8" forward treating him like a child. Remember how ornery Irving became after he was asked about LeBron playing a parental role for him back in 2015? Or this moment after their 2017 finals loss? Maybe I'm reaching here, but LeBron pats Kyrie on the head, asserting his dominance as the alpha. In response, Kyrie pats him on the head not once, but twice, and makes sure to leave his hand there for the cameras to see. Additionally, hearing that LeBron needed more help left him feeling underappreciated. This sentiment was shared by Kevin Love, who had committed to his diminished role by now, but felt beaten down from the pressure of playing with James. Irving himself compared his relationship with LeBron to Kobe and Shaq. With Kobe serving as his mentor before his untimely demise, I find it hard to believe that Bryant didn't play a part in convincing his apprentice that he was good enough to be the star of his own show. Mamba mentality after all, right? And then remember that infamous video of LeBron with a bald head pumping himself up in the gym after the Cavs' brutal 2017 finals loss? Weeks later at Harrison Barnes' wedding, Steph Curry would imitate LeBron's moves, and Kyrie could be seen in the background of the video, taking exceptional pleasure in hyping Steph up and laughing at this mockery of his former teammate. Flash forward to the 2018-19 season, and LeBron was now a Laker. Kyrie was healthy and leading the most stacked team in the league. However, in a sport where aging is usually seen as the hindrance to high-level performance, the Celtics suffered from an influx of too much youth, as everybody was chasing stats and trying to prove their worth instead of prioritizing team basketball. Kyrie's leadership was widely panned as he would isolate himself from the group and constantly criticize teammates and coaches whenever he was around. Realizing this alpha role wasn't as easy as he once envisioned, Irving would call LeBron in January to apologize for what he describes as being that young player that wanted everything at his fingertips and wanting everything at my threshold. Oddly enough, LeBron had been grabbing dinner with none other than Kevin Love after a game between the Cavs and Lakers when he noticed Irving's call. Somewhere in LeBron's megalomaniac mind, he misinterpreted this call as Irving admitting that he made a mistake in leaving Cleveland, more specifically, leaving him. Therefore, he put on his recruiting hat and tried to get Kyrie to join the Lakers, but he would opt to team up with another superstar small forward named Kevin Durant in Brooklyn instead. When boasting about his new partner in crime, Kyrie shared the relief he felt from no longer being on a team where he was the only late-game closer, saying, "One thing I've always been comfortable with is I felt like I was the best option on every team I've played for down the stretch. This is the first time in my career where I can be like, that MFer can make that shot too." LeBron would fire back that same day by praising his new teammate Anthony Davis for his unselfish ways. He later doubled down on taking offense to Irving's assertion.
I was a little like damn.
Yeah.
Once I got the whole transcript, I was like, damn. You know, I wasn't like, oh, you tripping. I've hit game-winning shots my whole life. I was not like that. I was like, damn, because you were there for a couple seasons. I mean, I played with Kyrie for 3 seasons. The whole time while I was there, I only wanted to see him be an MVP of our league. I only cared about his success, and it just didn't align. Yeah. It just didn't align. and we was able to win a championship.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing. We were still able to win a championship, and we could never align, but I only cared about his well-being, both on and off the floor. And it kind of like, it kind of hurted me a little bit.
Boo-hoo. Then this past January, during the Nets-Lakers game, Irving continued with his calculated teasing of LeBron after he bombed a technical free throw, sarcastically asking, "That's your best free throw shooter?" with a sheepish grin on his face. After adding James Harden and Blake Griffin, Kyrie knows he stands in his former teammates' way as the biggest threat to the Lakers' quest of repeating as champs, and he's enjoying every second of it. But the question remains, who is the real villain in this narrative? In 2021, you can catch Kevin Love on a TV screen near you, rotting away on the Cleveland Cavaliers and appearing mentally defeated. Whether it was giving up on an inbounds play against the Raptors, or telling the team's GM, Kobe Altman, to go ahead and fine him after an emotional outburst stemming from his dissatisfaction with the organization's direction. LeBron did to Kevin Love what he has done countless times to his teammates throughout his career. Convinced him to buy into the LeBron James system so LeBron could continue to collect individual achievements and awards, all at the cost of reduced stats and increased scrutiny for his teammate that appeared to be worth the trouble if it meant ending June with the Larry O'Brien trophy. But when the going got tough, King James and his faulty hairline packed things up and took their show on the road to a new city for an encore performance, leaving the now beaten up and run down supporting cast in the dust to pick up the pieces and ask themselves if it was really worth it. Kyrie, on the other hand, had the intelligence to recognize this and made his exodus at the perfect time. Refusing to have his legacy reduced to simply a footnote in LeBron James' pursuit of passing Michael Jordan as the GOAT, Irving took his talents elsewhere to be appreciated for the unique skill and artistry that he brings to the game of basketball. With only a few weeks left before the playoffs begin, we can only hope that the Nets and Lakers collide in the NBA Finals later this summer for the crossover event we've all been waiting for. This is Brady vs. Belichick, Kobe vs. Shaq, left Twix vs. right Twix. The culture needs this matchup to materialize for the epic display of greatness that will surely bring the sports world. But if we are fortunate enough to witness this duel for the ages, we're gonna need a way bigger movie screen. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what other teammate beefs you would like me to cover, and whose side were you on in this conflict, LeBron or Kyrie and Kevin Love. Also, please check out my NFL investigation video into the Deshaun Watson sexual assault allegations. I worked my butt off on this video, but also really enjoyed making it. Show me some love if you can, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. This is CT, and I'm signing out.